Good morning. Happy Monday. Here we go. Let's get into Math 6, Week 3, Monday, April 20th. We're going to look today at interior angles. Grab your attachment, Notability, create new note, open. All right, today is Monday, April 20th. We are going to focus on being able to determine the missing angles from the information we have. But first thing you're going to do is a short little review. Practice remembering what kind of angle each of these are. So when you're looking at this angle, is it acute, right, or obtuse? And answer that for the 3 angles that are there. Next, when we get into our notes for the day. So today we're talking about interior angles. So up here in our notes, I said interior angles. Interior, what that means, another word for interior is inside. So when I say interior, it's also inside. And so you'll see today what we're going to look at is in these shapes, there's an inside angle that we are missing. And we need to figure out. So there's some important information to know. Whenever we have the first shape that we're going to look at is a quadrilateral. Whenever we have a quadrilateral, all of the interior angles are going to add up to 360 degrees. Okay, so whenever there's a 4-sided, 4-cornered figure, that's what a quadrilateral is, 4 sides, 4 corners. All of these angles add up to 360 degrees. Okay, so I'm unsure when I made these notes why this blue line or white line is here. Don't worry about that. But what we know then is that if it has to total 360 degrees, we're going to use that as our starting. So we're going to say 360 degrees, and then we're going to subtract the angles that we know. While we do this, and when you do it on your own, it's best to, after you write it, cross it off in the figure. Otherwise, you're going to get confused, especially as we get into bigger shapes. So there's another 105. I'm going to cross it off. And then the last one I have is 75. All right, so we are trying to find the one that's missing. So in my calculator, I'm going to go ahead and start with 360. Minus those 2 angles, the 105s, and then I forgot what that third one was, 75. So then it tells me my answer is 75. So that other angle that's missing is 75 degrees. That also makes sense because when we look again at opposite angles, you'll notice these are the same, and these would also likely be the same. So 75, the angle I'm missing here, like I said, I like to write it in so I don't get confused, 75 degrees. So whenever you look at quadrilaterals, that'll be your practice today, is knowing that inside of a quadrilateral there is 360 degrees total. Sorry, my dog is moving around in the background again. Welcome to working from home. Next, we are going to look at the triangle. The triangle is a little different. Similar to when we find the area of a triangle, it is half of that area. So if a square or a rectangle or any type of quadrilateral is base times height, then it is half of that. So half of 360 is 180 degrees. So for a triangle, then all these angles inside have to add up to 180 degrees. So now we're going to do the practice problem, and they gave us some information. So we have 180 degrees is what we started with, because that's the whole triangle. Then we're going to subtract the angles we know. So we know 45 and we know 80. And then we're going to find what's left, this angle. So now in your calculators, start with 180 minus 45 minus 80. And that gives me my angle that I am missing. So then this angle I'm missing, we found out, was 55, and I have the degrees symbol there for you. So then up here, 55 degrees. That's my angle that's missing. There's a little more practice for you to do today on these. It's a pretty easy concept, but it takes some practice. So today you have 6 problems to find the angle measurement for. So again, there's information you know. These are opposite angles. So these are going to be the same degrees. So you're going to start with, I'll do this one as an example problem. I'm going to start with knowing this is a quadrilateral. The whole thing has to be 360 degrees. So I'm going to start with 360 minus angle I have, minus angle I have, and find out my answer. So what I have left is 290 degrees. However, I have to remember that that is for 2 angles. I still have 2 angles here. So I'm going to take 290 degrees, I'm going to divide it by 2. That means that each of those angles is worth 145 degrees. So if I go back to my picture, I can label it. This one is 145 degrees. 145. And all together then this whole shape, if I added them all back up, would be 360. So again, this is your practice you're going to do today to screenshot and submit. Today is a little different. I have a additional little bonus angle practice that you're going to do. So just submit this page, just this page, because the next page is kind of a hands-on activity that you're going to try out. So there is a link to this website that you are going to click on, open in Safari. So this blue link here, go ahead, click. It says open in Safari. It's going to take you to a page where we practice working with angles. You'll see in the directions I put, you're going to want to make sure to click on this measuring tool. This is called a protractor, and this is what we use when we measure angles. So make sure to click on that protractor tool, because that'll make the protractor pop up. I'm going to do it right now. And then we can play with the angles. So I'm going to move this. No, not that one. I'm going to move this one to 0. It's always good to start at 0. And then this one I can move around. I'm a little off of 0. There we go. So then this one I can move around and we can get to the different angles. Like we said, one we're familiar with is 90 when it goes straight up and down. Anything over here is an acute angle. Then we have obtuse angles. So next what I'm going to have you do is find the angle measurement for 4 different angles, and you are going to screenshot those and add them to the document. So going back to my document, there's 4 different angles you are going to try to find. And so the first one I said is for the angle measurement of 120 degrees. So I'm going to go back to my protractor and I'm going to find where's the 120 degrees. And you'll see this number in the middle keeps going up. And there, I got to 120 degrees. So I'm going to go ahead and screenshot it. Go back to my document. If you haven't yet, how you add an image or put an image is this plus sign. You're going to go to your photos. And I can also crop it. You can leave it how you want. Miss O'Mara's a little OCD, so she's going to crop it if I can get it to go. Here's the picture I did of 120 degrees. I'm going to put it right there. Done. There's 3 more that I'm going to have you work on finding. So again, practice finding what it looks like to have 155 degrees, 35, and then 72 degrees. So this is just to get you used to, if you were in math class, we would work on using a protractor with you and practice how to measure the angles. Not a lot of students have these at home. They're kind of a funky ruler, and not a lot of reasons you would have this around the house unless you teach math. So there's just an online tool you can use instead. So this is just to get us practicing the measurement of the angles. So play around with it, take your photos, insert them in the document. And that's your last task for today. Have a good rest of your day.